Real quick, I want to do a fair use. Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To your sisters, you Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson.
Welcome back for another half hour of 12 News at 4. We recently told you about a new jaguar that's been spotted here in Arizona. New this afternoon, 12 News journalist Adriana Loya caught up with a man who captured the amazing video.
Meet Jason Miller. He's a full-time landscaper and part-time trail cam hobbyist.
All my free time, I'm out there running cameras.
It's something the Vail, Arizona resident took up 5 years ago after retiring hunting.
This actually gets me in the outdoors more.
His goal was to capture Arizona's wildlife. Over the years, he's done just that. From bears and their cubs, javelinas giving birth, mountain lions, and countless more creatures coming across his 18 trail cameras scattered in the Southwest.
In the back of my head, I was thinking maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to get an ocelot or a jaguar. You know, I didn't set out for them. I just hoped one day it would happen, and it did.
In 2 years, Jason capturing this rare ocelot 5 times. It's the only known mini jaguar in the state. Then, on December 20th, a real jaguar tripping one of Jason's cameras in the Huachuca Mountains.
I was in awe. I couldn't believe it. I just screamed out, I got a jaguar. I think I said it 2 or 3 more times.
These images, the first time in 30 years, a new jaguar was spotted in southern Arizona. Experts comparing the cat spots with those of Sombra and El Jefe, the other 2 known jaguars, determining this one is new. Only the 8th documented jaguar to visit the U.S. Jason was out checking out more cameras in a remote area when the confirmation that this one is new broke, learning of it hours later.
I think you were probably the last person to find out.
Yeah, I had no idea. On my way home, my wife told me yes.
What was going through your mind at that point? What did you think?
Well, I was just still on cloud 9. And at that point, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got a jaguar, let alone, I never fathomed it would be a new one.
It's still unclear how old the new jaguar is and if it's a female or male. The last female spotted in the U.S. was killed by an Arizona hunter in 1963. Jason would like to name the new endangered cat Cochise and hopes he doesn't have to wait long to capture it again.
If I do, so be it. I'll get a lot of beautiful wildlife in the meantime.
Adriana Loya, 12 News.
No, leopard, no. That's not how you do it. You don't let the crocodile eat you. Let Mr. Jaguar show you how it's done. I absolutely love jaguars. I know I've talked about them a few times, but this is something you might not know about the big cat. See this picture right here? What about this picture right here? What if I told you that was in Arizona? Although it's only been documented a few times, it has been documented. There are jaguars in southern Arizona. If you read old accounts back when America was first being settled, there are accounts of spotted cats throughout many famous figures in history. Basically, there's thought that jaguars were all over the United States when we first arrived. As if you think a mountain lion is fierce, wait until you get a load of a jaguar. No.
Yeah, so this is AI overview because it got me wondering once I seen this, and then the brothers, the GMS Arizona brothers was speaking about it, so it made me think about it. So it says, so I asked, is it native? It says yes, jaguars are native to Arizona, but their presence in the state is limited, and they were hunted to near extinction in the U.S., which that's kind of what that dude was saying before. He said they used to be throughout all the U.S., especially in the western part of the U.S., but they used to be all through the U.S., even in Florida, but they basically almost killed them all, Esau, for thousands of years, which they go on to, all these extra thousand years that don't exist, right? It says their historic range include the Southwest, and they continue to inhabit parts of their natural territory, including the Sky Islands of Arizona and New Mexico, right? However, recent habitation loss and fragmentations from human development threatens these populations, and conservationists are advocating for restoration and protection of these critical habitations, right? And they're going to have to do it much longer because, it says the animals shall change their places, right? So they're going to have to do it much longer, right? And I remember when I think it was when I was in high school, because basically they basically wanted to reintroduce this back into society, right? Back into the habitations and make a protection for them to, and you're gonna protect them, all right, and it's beautiful that the Most High would do that, because I remember when I was in high school, they introduced the Mexican wolf back to Arizona, right? Because they damn near killed all the wolves. But this was like in 95 or so, when I was in high school. I was like a freshman or so. 95. I think it was, in between if I was freshman or sophomore. Because I was a freshman 95. Between 95 and 96, I think it was a sophomore. Going into 97. So about around that time, right? And they introduced the Mexican wolf, and it's gonna be ultimately for your detriment, right? Right? Yeah. So this is AI overview. Say okay, it was 98. I was close, right? Because I know I was a freshman around 95, sophomore about 96, and I remember learning about that, but I didn't remember exactly what time it was, but I was close. It says the Mexican wolf was reintroduced to Arizona in 1998 when the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services released the first captive wolf into the Mexican wolf experiment population area. This release marked the first time the endangered subspecies had been in the wild in the United States in over 30 years. So you're roughly talking, they got about almost 30 years back, right? Because, my son was born in 98. And what is he, like 27? So it was damn near, 27, 28. So you damn near another 30 years, right? So they're well efficient. And and what's going on right now, right? So so basically this is I'm gonna start with this is 2nd Ezra chapter 5 verse 8, GNTA, and it says the earth will break open in many places and begin springing out fire. And that's the volcanoes, right? Yeah, you got a lot of volcanoes. These earthquakes are going to hit, right? Earthquakes in diverse places. You got that ring of fire, so a lot of volcanoes are going to erupt. Not to mention you have the uproars of the people. People are going to be burning down different parts of the city, doing this and that because, they're upset, But basically that's like volcanoes, right? And which is going to push the animals, inward, not to mention the dead bodies, because the Lord said that your body should be dung upon the ground. And with the lack of food and lack of resources, the animals are going to come in to eat the bodies. And then if you're alive, live meat is better than dead meat, and dead meat is better than no meat. So these are the things, the conditions that you're going to be facing. It says wild animals will leave the fields and forests at their monthly periods, at their monthly period. Women will bear monsters, right, and that's already happening, right? So we're gonna have these telltale signs of the end, right? I'm gonna just read it in the KJV. So it says 2nd Ezra chapter 5 verse 8. The Apocrypha, basically the King James authorized version, which is canon, by the way. It says there shall be a confusion, right? And that's basically, the uproars of the people, right? Then, like I said, you have earthquakes and many places, which that ring of fire is going to bring forth volcanoes, right? It says also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beast, talking about the volcanoes, and the wild beasts shall change their places, right? Coming to a city near you, a town near you, which that kind of already happens a little bit because people want to build houses and habitation, which we were reading about that. Diminishing their habitations, but then at the same time, you're going to be amongst them because that's really, you're trying to build all these different complexes and condos and whatever else that they're trying to build way out somewhere because Esau always trying to get away from Jake. So you're trying to make your more suburbs and more places to get away from the so-called inner city, right? To get away from Jake, but then you're gonna run right into these wild beasts, right? And they're gonna change their places, and ministress women shall bring forth monsters, right? And you're gonna see these YNs and these young people who don't have any morals or standards, because even though a lot of church was BS, You know, it was the foundation, because if you think about it, most of the brothers who came into the faith, they came out of the Christian church. So you had some level of respect for certain people. You had certain respect for God and the Bible and scriptures. And if somebody seemed to be spiritual, you had this respect. But these days, these YNs, these young monsters, they have no respect for anything or anyone or anybody or anything. They're complete monsters, right? Right? You know? And then of course you have these the other way they're monsters too is because this GMO food and these different things and all these how do you say it? These things that they have to make the kids have when they're born end up giving them so-called Down syndrome and all these other different things, and turn them into being not all. So then they're monsters that way, and sometimes some of them are just born deformed, which are monsters, right? And then people keep them, because technically, I believe you're supposed to kill them if they have any deformities. You're supposed to kill it. Just like if you have cattle or anything, if your cattle has a deformity, you're supposed to take it out the city and kill it. Technically, that's what you're supposed to do. But instead, you bring forth these monsters, right, under these conditions. And the salt water shall be found to be sweet. And see, you have right now where there's sharks, I think even an alligator or something like that. There's a shark, I believe I remember I seen one. It was a while back ago. And this shark was swimming from the ocean up through the river from salt water into fresh water. So so imagine, time is helter skelter and people are fighting and this and that over the last resources and this and that, and people are doing whatever it takes to survive or whatever, and you go down to the river to drink some water, the last thing you're thinking about is a goddamn shark coming up and biting you, right? And then vice versa. Last thing you're thinking about is a goddamn alligator in the salt water. And these are things where the animals are changing their places, right? And all the friendly shall be destroyed. And was it nice? The word nice goes to being foolish. I'm roughly paraphrasing, just throwing out there, because when you're friendly, it's actually a foolish thing, right? And that's how you're gonna get destroyed. Destroy one another, and friends should destroy one another, right? And that's what's gonna happen, right? Because if you be too friendly, you're gonna get destroyed. And there's times where people are gonna realize, hey, I don't give a damn about my friend. My kids gotta eat. My situation, which they do that now. They choose everything over their own situation, right? They'll choose their situation over someone else's, right? The people will walk over a homeless person having $10,000 in their pocket, right? How much more in the time when society collapsed, right? Right? Then shall withhold itself and understanding, right? Wisdom, right? Wisdom. A lot of people ain't gonna have wisdom or understanding. Then shall withhold itself, and understanding draweth itself unto his secret chambers, right? right? Because was it the verse that talks about there will no longer be the voice of the bridegroom or the bride, right? And that's part of that wisdom. The secrets of the Most High won't be readily available. Basically, going into the famine of the word, and it says, "And shall be salt of many," right? So a lot of people are going to be looking for the word, looking for understanding, and won't be able to find it, and yet not not be found. Then shall ungodliness and incontinence be multiplied on earth, right? And hey, all hell is going to break loose. It's going to be a day like none other. So this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, verse 16, because we're coming into a time of great judgment, that they might know that wherewithal a man sinneth, right? Because basically sin, iniquity is going forth throughout the earth. No one's considering really turning back to the Lord, even though the prophets are out there, which it makes sense, because the Lord said basically this is for the elect. The elect is going to hear the call. The elect is going to have the understanding, the eyes to see, the eye salve. The rest will be blinded. I mean, as it says in the scriptures, right? But you're not going to be able to say you didn't hear or you didn't know, right? You're not going to be able to say it, by the same also shall he or she be punished, right? And then now we're coming to the time, hey, you're going to be punished by your iniquities, by your sins, right? For thy almighty hand that madeth the world, right? Which, speaking of the Lord, is saying this, hey Lord, thy almighty hand that made the world, right? Which is really Yahweh Shai, of matter without form, wanting not, means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions, right? Which through this bugged out guy, Donald J. Trump, he's basically already setting this up. Supposedly, you got the alligator Alcatraz. They was talking about setting up another prison or something, and having bears outside of the prison. So if you did escape somehow, when you escape, you're going to be in a multitude of bears, showing you that these people are the Greeks and the Romans, right? Showing you that you're the Israelites, because they never considered putting animals against anyone except for you. This is how you had to fight in those Colosseums. Mostly only dealing with the Southern Kingdom, but here in the land of the North, Babylon the Great, also known as Assyria, Egypt, Sodom, right? This place, all these spiritual things, and also actually spiritually even Rome, right? This is that. It's all re-encapsulated from these Edomites. So they're talking about doing all sorts of things, but also, you have the power, the Most High Himself, that has the ultimate, is saying, or unknown wild beast See, the Lord has the power to bring unknown wild beast, right? You know, when they're talking about Bigfoot and things like that, those are things that people don't know nothing about, right? And there's even more than that. You got Leviathan, right? And there's lots more. And then of course you got Esau. He's creating things in a laboratory, and he's also creating AI beast. You know, so it's all sorts of unknown things that's about to be set forth. Unknown wild beasts, fill full of wrath, so like, yeah, newly created, right? Yeah, breathing out either a fiery vapor or a filthy scent. Oh wow. Mm, yeah, like a skunk on steroids, huh? Like a skunk shit out a scent, and it'll stink. But this probably like a smell that it'll kill you, go into your nervous system or something, make you drop dead. You know, filthy scent of scattered smoke or shooting horrible sparks out of their eyes, man. Wow. You know, goddamn laser beam type coming out the eyes of the animals, which, like I said, hey, it could be these things that, you know, Esau's coming up with. He's got these different mechanical animals, and you know, this is, you know, I believe this is Solomon, which, you know, Solomon, though he was a king, he was a prophet too, right? And the Lord most likely gave him visions and things like that. And, you know, you're just recording things from your time period, which he was Yahushua. He ended up being, he's Yahushua. So he could have gave more deep, but you know, that's part of the mystery of it being unknown. You know, it could be an actual animal that the Lord has created that has this, but then the Lord has this wicked, laborious, evil scientist Esau that's creating these different things too. So it's going to be all hell. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 1. Then said Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind, right, La'ab, mind, heart, could not be towards this people, right? You Israelites, so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians who didn't want to hearken unto his words, right? To the times, the signs of the times, which people are seeing that America's about to collapse any day, any time now. Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth. Hey man, get them out of here. Which you already went into the four winds of the earth, the four corners of the earth. Where left is there for you to go? At this point, there's no other place the Lord could send you into captivity. You didn't went to captivity under every nation under heaven, and you still haven't returned. Which that's basically what the Lord. That's where we're at now. Pretty much that's what the Lord said in Isaiah 1, and also in 2nd Ezra 15. He basically pretty much said, "I will not suffer them to be in Egypt anymore, which is talking about this place, America, Babylon the Great. There's no need to suffer you to be in this place anymore. The only remedy for you, it basically is death, right? Because there's no other place to put you into slavery, and he's done that. He exhausted that, right? So it's this right here. So Jeremiah 15:2, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? What are you talking about? Where are we going to go? Where should we go? Then thus shall tell them, thus saith Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash, such as are for death, because there's no other thing for you to do. There's nothing. The Lord showed you everything. He had what it says, the scourges for amendment, trying to get you to change your heart, your mind, trying to get you to change your conditions. You see all these different calamities, different things that's happening. Even now, the Lord literally locked down the entire world through the CV-19, trying to get you people to repent. But you know what? The violence, as soon as you got a chance to be able to go back outside, the violence increased higher, right? You people wild out more, right? So, like the Lord said, that the whole head is sick and the heart is faint. Why should he suffer you, right? To go on, right? So such are for the death to death, and such are for the sword to the sword, and such are for famine to the famine, and such as for the captivity to the captivity. See, which are going to be concentration camps, educational camps, and ultimate captivity is getting that charagma, right? That is captivity all over again. And there are people that's subject to get the charagma, grapho, right? The grain of rice, the digital dollar bill, y'all. I just had to say it like that. But it says, I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakadash, the sword to slay, right? And the dogs, right? See? And dogs are all over America, right? I can't remember the name of it. And then what's crazy about America, this is going to be like the worst place to be in, bro. So not only do you have jaguars and wolves and mountain lions, then on top of that, there's a zoo. There's a zoo in every city. So you got even other animals that, you know what I'm saying? Then you got the newly created beast that the Lord has created that we've never seen. And then you got these laboratory freaking natures that Esau's created that he's about to loose out there. Bro, it is absolutely crazy. And then my thought, let me not lose train of my thought, what I was talking about because I was reading about the dogs. The thing about America is these people are so spoiled. They'll bring these exotic dogs, or even other animals too. They bring all these exotic dogs who don't belong here, but they're here now. So when all hell breaks loose, oh my God, right? And that's what's about to happen. And the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, and the beast of the earth to devour and destroy. See, and that's what, That's what's about to take place on Earth, right? Let me see if I can show you one. Man, maybe I'll do two if I can real quick. Some of these crazy exotic, just the dogs. That's not including all these other different things. Yes, this is a AI overview. The Guinness World Record for the heaviest and largest massive dog belongs to Zorba, an Old English Mastiff who weighs 343 pounds, measured 8 feet and 3 inches long. This fucking thing is 8 feet and 3 inches long. And these people, they bring these dogs that really belong on the other side of the world. They bring that here to America. Yeah, like look at this. This is called a Caucasian Shepherd. And this is just the dogs. Like when it's talking about the dog to tear, it's not even talking about the other beast, the wild beast that's unknown, right? That can shoot sparks and tempests out of its eyes and fire out of their mouth and do all these different things. It's not talking about those. This is just dogs. Look how big these dogs are. People bring these dogs to America, right? Look at that, man. That is crazy. Like look at these dogs. Look at these dogs that people are bringing. Look at that dog compared to that lady. All right? Look at that dog compared to dude. Look at that. Look how she's feed that. Look how big that dog compared to her. Like, look at this one right here. Look at that. That is insane. Right? These people bring these dogs over to America. So that's just the dogs to tear, you know? Look at this right here. It's a Tibetan Mastiff. Look how huge it is compared to that lady. All right? And you know, you're gonna starve during the famine. So guess what? These big fucking dogs are gonna be hungry. In the time of famine, they're gonna be hungry. Now what do you do? What do you do with that? So this is Leviticus chapter 26, verse 22, Salakia, and it says, "And I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children," right? Because you know they always hunt the weaker amongst the herd, right, so to speak. Because you'll be going out looking, scavenging for food or doing whatever, and they'll snatch your children. You know, the animals will. You know, hey, you might even have people pick those things up because, hey, in the famine, people are hungry. Hey, they will turn into beasts, right? and to destroy your cattle, right? And before you know, some people got cattle or they got certain little things, or you know, just your food. You know, they coming in to spoil your goods, take your goods from you, before you can even enjoy it, right? And make you few in numbers, right? Because you know there's sort of what they say, safety in numbers. So you got all these different animals. It's better for people to be more together because there's safety in numbers. But you know, animals are smart. They'll take you down one by one, right? You know, to make you fewer in number, and then if it's just gets you down to a number where they feel like they can all just come in, then that's when they'll come in. I forgot the name of that movie when that dude, what's his name, Neil Neeson or whatever his name is, and they get stuck out in the snow somewhere, and then the wolves and then basically the wolf. That's what they were doing. They were picking them apart. They were making them smaller in number, right? Fewer in number, and your highways shall be desolate, right? Yeah. And then when you look at these post-apocalyptic movies, when you see these things, highways and people trying to get out because of all these different things, you see a bunch of empty cars because it's a death trap. And it's just going to be desolate. People are going to go out there to basically die, trying to escape the city, trying to go this and that, but then they end up in gridlock. And gridlock is there's nowhere for you to go, and whatever happens at that moment, it just happened, and now you're stuck. You're set for a trap. And if ye will not be reformed by me, by these things, right? But will walk contrary unto me, right? Because basically the Lord has set up a different thing. The Lord said he did scourges for amendment. So there's all sorts of things that's happening, but basically you people you're still walking contrary to the Lord. Then will I also walk contrary unto you, and will punish you yet 7 times for your sins. And that's the time that you're living in. It's about to increase. Yeah, so it's Deuteronomy 28, right? As a matter of fact, this just came to my mind. You can't forget that was Leviticus. That's the law. And then Deuteronomy is the second book of the law. So these are things that the Lord is bound by law to do to you Israelites, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. It says, and Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies, right? Because Esau's coming in, right? Also, right? He's gonna come down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. He should be like madman, sparing none, right? Right? So to be smitten to be killed, right? So it's a lot of people going to be killed just in that, and this governmental tilt, race wars, all these different things that's about to happen, and it says thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways. See, the Lord says he's going to increase your punishment 7 times more. So you can go one way against them and flee 7 ways from them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth, which that's basically what the Lord did to us already. But now, like I was saying, there's no other place for you to go now besides to a concentration camp, besides to fulfill the end time prophecies, whether you get the charagma, whether you die of famine, the sword, the dog tear, right? Right? Or the wild beast. You're going to fulfill prophecy, or if you're the elect, right? So one way or another, right, you're going to fulfill prophecy, right? Which, I mean, and thy carcasses, right, and those that do perish shall be for meat unto all the fowls of the earth, all the fowls of the air, Salakia, and unto the beast of the earth, and no man shall fray them away, right? Because everybody's going to be having their own calamities, so to speak. They're gonna, they're gonna have time to fray them away, right? Right. So this is Hosea chapter 13, verse 8. And I will meet them as a bear bereaved of her whelp. So that's like a bear, a she bear, and her cubs died, right? And that she's going to be angry, very territorial about her, her cubs, right? But, and especially they're dead or whatever. It says, and I will rend the call of their hearts, right? And basically your sins are going to be against you. Your cruel mentality, right? Your thoughts of not basically coming back to the Lord, right? And there I will devour them like a lion. The wild beast shall tear them, right? See, the Lord's going to send lions upon you, right? O Israel, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, thou has destroyed thyself. See, and at the end of the day, right, it's something you did it to yourself. But in me is thy help. See, and so the Lord's always constantly showing you that He's your help, right? And some people are going to get saved in that final hour, but why push it? Why? I mean, the Lord said, "Seek ye the Lord while He may be found." So why push? Why push the issue if you could show the Lord that you love Him now? But then, I mean, like I said, everybody's going to fulfill prophecy, right? So some people are meant to be saved in that final hour. I mean, I guess that's prophecy, but it says, "I will be thy king, where is any other that may it save?" So, hey, who else could save you but the Most High? And a lot of people are finally going to realize that in that final hour. Save thee in all thy cities. See, in all these different places where you Israelites are at, where the Lord has scattered you around the world. But that main place is Babylon the Great, which is America. And thy judges, of whom thus said it's, give me a king and a prince. Right? So, hey, at the end of the day, well, the Lord is coming. Your king, starting with Yahweh Shai, and then you're going to have King David, and the Lord's going to set forth the kingdom. But before that, hey, punishment is going to have to go out. Yeah. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 39, verses 27. All things are for good to the godly, so to the sinner they are turned to evil, right? That's things about the changing places, changing of the guard. A lot of you basically, you had your fun, right? So now it's going to turn into evil. Evil meaning a bad time. You had your good times, right? And now it's about to be bad times. There be spirits that are created for vengeance. See? And this is the time that the Lord said that He is coming for vengeance. He's going to visit the world that He made, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. See? And this is the time that things are starting to happen. You can see these Edomites getting paranoid every day, man. Every day. Right? And more paranoid. In the time of destruction, and that's where we're at. We're in the time of destruction. They pour out the forces, their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them, right? So you got different spirits, and these animals, whether you understand or not, these animals have spirits, man, right? And the Lord controls the spirits. Even in these AIs, the Lord's going to put, the Lord said that He's going to pour His Spirit upon all living things. You know that they put some of human DNA and all these things and some of these AI things, right? So these things are actually living things. You're going to pour out His Spirit upon all things. Even this AI, right? Which the guy even said something about it being a entity, right? An entity is what? A spirit. And these spirits were the left hand or right hand, which is going to destroy basically the vengeance of the Lord is going to be upon the world, right? On everyone, except for the good, the godly, well, godly is going to go through some things too, but just not the way that, the wicked, the ones who just walk contrary to the Lord, and it says, in the time of destruction, they pour out their fear, their force, and appease the wrath of him that created them. Sweat, fire, hail, and famine, and death. So these are all that's going to be the spirit on the earth, right? You didn't know that fire had a spirit, right? But they show you that in some of these things where the forest fire, it's fire, and then it jumps over into a whole different place to where that's like that spirit. You know what I mean? Right? Hell, right? You have the different rains and storms. It's gonna be like a storm's gonna come. It's gonna have a mind of its own, so to speak, kind of. You can be like, what? You never thought of a storm being able to be like that. Hurricanes, tornadoes, all these things are gonna be like it has a mind of its own pretty soon. You're gonna see different things, famine and death, and all these were created for the vengeance of the Lord, for the vengeance. They're all created for vengeance. The teeth of wild beasts, see, that's all coming. And scorpions, snakes, and the sword. The modern day sword is the gun until you run out of bullets, because that's what's going to happen here, right? And then it's whatever else you take up to kill someone with, right? Quayan, right? Going back to Cain, weapon or dagger, carrying weapon, right? Hey man, yeah, sword to punishing, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction, right? And also the left hand of the Lord is Esau, which is the sword. So the enemy's gonna come out, they're gonna fight, and you're gonna fight, and everything's gonna, and there's gonna be dead bodies, as what it says, dung upon the streets, which is gonna be given to the animals, right? Yeah. So this is Revelation chapter 19, verse 17, and I saw an angel standing in the sun. Hey, I don't know if you know about, I don't know if it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but there was a chariot, what they call UFO or UAP, was basically over the sun, right? This is NASA picked it up, and the guy was saying it looked like it was like refueling from the sun. But you know how hot the sun is. I mean, well, actually, no one knows really how hot the sun is, but the sun is so hot. There's no way that anything should even remotely get anywhere near it. Like getting close, you should just start melting. But it's a chariot. You know what I'm saying? It's from the power, and nothing happened to it. And those chariots are angels, which, you know, by faith we believe. And as an angel in the sun, standing on the, you know, they wouldn't literally stand in the sun. He was in the chariot, but I mean, if you think about it, that's standing on the sun, right? And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, right, which is talking about on earth, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sat on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great, man. And that's the time that we're coming in, man. The great judgment and vengeance and visitation of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Bible ball, and Kwam Yasharallah.